Peace. This is a meat and potato social production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is the metaphysics of reincarnation. Reincarnation, or a rebirthing of energy, is a concept that was pervasive amongst the Hindus and the Buddhists. And at that time, we have to understand that the East was miles ahead of the West when it came to metaphysics and spirituality. The only thing is that, like any religion, irrespective of whether it's from the East or the West, they will fall into the trap of dogma. So let's have a conversation about that. Now, with reincarnation, one of the things is that the Hindus believe is that you don't have a choice in reincarnation. I think that it's not as cut and dry as that. I think that depending on what you attain spiritually in this world will kind of say otherwise. Now, let's see. Jimmy Johnson, former coach of the Dallas Cowboys, had this saying, and I hold this to be true, that I treat everybody fair. I don't treat everybody the same. So if you deal with the occult or metaphysics, there's going to be a separate section for you once you make your transition. And we have to understand, depending on your level of attainment or the fulfillment of your purpose, either you don't come back or it will be thousands of years before you do come back in a physical vessel. And we also have to understand that the reincarnation cycle works like this. If you're a child or you die in an accident or you die because of murder, you reincarnate immediately. And I want to share this story. It's sad, but I want to talk about it. There's a child that just was murdered by his own mother a few days ago on the street of Monte Vista. Monte Vista, for those who don't know, is on the west side of Detroit near I-96. So basically this child was blind, and the child had been stuffed in a freezer and was there for months. The body was decomposing. Now, this child is dead, and when he comes back, what will be his psychological makeup? Because he hasn't attained enough life experience. So we have to understand, when you make your transition, you take a certain energy over there as well as your own belief system. So if you do reincarnate, what will you come back with? Because you can have some children, even grandchildren, like one is so happy and playful and energetic, and the other one seems melancholy or sad. You have to understand this child may in a past life been murdered, abandoned, abused. So they'll latch on to certain things irrespective of whether their parents have money, a boatload of it, or a lack of it. Then there's the thing of Buddhists have this belief that the soul can only reincarnate 108 times. The Theosophical Society believes that you can reincarnate maybe up to 777, which is the number for the great work, up to 1,000. I had an experience with my Reiki master, and they told me that they were working on something with my third eye. And what she had said was, you were around during the crucifixion, so anyone, whether you're a Christian or not, knows that the crucifixion happened over 2,000 years ago, and there's been many crucifixions. If you read the Purim Heru, or the so-called Book of the Dead, Osar or Osiris was crucified. So there's levels to this. And just like, let's say you abuse your gifts of magic, they have a punishment section for occultists or necromancers that have done that. You could become an ascended vampire. They can get a hold of you, and you become a vampire. And the Christian mystic, who was known as Emmanuel Swedenborg, author of Heaven and Hell, say that sometimes when angels were cast down, you took it in a literal sense. Sometimes angels, by the divine creators, were put in a human form. That was their fall. They were given a human body. and they were stripped of their celestial powers. So that's metaphysics that aren't talked about. So you have to understand that there are levels for this. They have a section for occultists, and they have a section for people that, one, if you were abused and you die as a child, you come back immediately. If you die by your own hand because of something idiotic and stupid like prescription overdose or alcohol poisoning, you come right back immediately. So when I say immediately, how does that usually work? Usually within 6 months, you reincarnate back and you get a new vessel. So that's how that works. And if you're a great divine soul, if you want to come back, you will, but that may take thousands of years because you'll find where you're at in the astral realm and you have to be given a good reason. So if you do come back, usually you're fulfilling an obligation or you want to make humanity better than when you left it in your particular era. That's why you come back. So there's levels and layers to metaphysics and reincarnation. So it's not just as cut and dry as people make it out to be. And I also want to say this. How do you know that you may be an older soul? There are old souls and younger souls. If you're an older soul, without overburdening you with too information, there are two things. Either you have a sense of deja vu where you've been to a particular land or a particular town, like you've been there before because you will recognize certain landmarks, or you're an empath. So usually if you're an empath, that means that you're an older soul. So that's the metaphysics of reincarnation. So with that, that is your meat and potato sorcery for the day. I am the Water Alchemist. Be water, my friends. Peace.